In the summer of 1947, a civilian pilot named Kenneth Arnold spotted 9 metallic objects skipping through the clouds over Mount Rainier. He described their motion as looking like a saucer if you skipped it across water. The global press ran with the quote, and the flying saucer was born. The timing felt perfectly logical to a public that had just split the atom. The prevailing assumption was that our newfound nuclear technology had finally attracted the attention of extraterrestrial explorers. But if we look back exactly 2,000 years, the data tells a very different story. In the 100 BC year, residents of Tarquinia, Italy, recorded a glowing, circular object sweeping from west to east across the sunset. The flight characteristics described by those ancient witnesses are identical to the reports from 1947. This unbroken consistency fractures the popular narrative that alien scientists newly discovered Earth in the atomic age. We know about the Tarquinia sighting because it was preserved by a Roman writer named Julius Obsequens in a text called the Liber Prodigiorum, or the Book of Prodigies. The Roman Republic was not a society built on primitive superstition. It was austere, bureaucratic, and deeply concerned with maintaining civic order. When Romans observed a prodigy, which they defined as an inexplicable disruption to the natural environment, it was treated as a matter of national security. The Senate dispatched investigators, interviewed local witnesses, and cataloged the anomalies to determine if the gods were withdrawing their favor from the state. Because of this rigorous civic protocol, the Liber Prodigiorum functions as an official, state-sanctioned dataset of physical anomalies, compiled by the highest levels of Roman government. Inside that dataset are precise accounts of extreme aerial maneuvering. In 103 BC, the skies of Rimini reportedly filled with glowing anomalies that observers described as flaming spears and shields clashing together, advancing and retreating in tight formation. Lacking the vocabulary of aerodynamics, the Romans filtered the raw visual data through their own technological lens. To a martial society, a hovering silver disc was recorded as an orbis clypeus, a round bronze infantry shield. 12 years later, in 91 BC, witnesses near Spoletium documented a gold-colored fireball that rolled down to the ground. According to the Senate's records, the object then increased in size and accelerated vertically so fast that it momentarily blotted out the sun. Those specific behaviors, silent hovering, sudden extreme acceleration, and intense luminosity, perfectly match the flight profiles recorded by military sensors and fighter pilots tracking unidentified anomalous phenomena today. The Roman Senate didn't launch scientific inquiries to reverse engineer the objects. Instead, they responded with 9-day feasts and ritual sacrifices designed to reestablish harmony. They were looking at the exact same physical anomalies we see in our modern skies. By absorbing the phenomenon into their state religion, the Romans effectively neutralized the psychological shock of the unknown. Decades of analyzing these historical records led astronomer and computer scientist Jacques Vallée to question the foundational logic of modern ufology. Vallée posed a straightforward challenge. If these objects represent biological extraterrestrials conducting a scientific survey of our planet, why have their methods remained static for thousands of years? This timeline plots history from antiquity to the modern era. Mapping data points of identical aerial anomalies shows they remain remarkably consistent from 100 BC to 1947. A conventional reconnaissance mission would gather its data and move on. Hovering unaltered without making formal contact for 2 millennia defies biological or strategic logic. The sheer depth of the Roman timeline collapses the theory of extraterrestrial astronauts, pointing toward an origin that is much closer to home, yet far more difficult to grasp. Researchers like Vallée propose what is known as the interdimensional hypothesis. This suggests the phenomenon is a permanent, parallel intelligence that has always shared our environment, rather than travelers crossing deep space in metal ships. This intelligence appears to operate like an epistemological mirror. It interacts with human consciousness by projecting itself in a form that stretches the boundaries of whatever technology the current civilization possesses. In 100 BC, the absolute peak of human engineering was metallurgy and warfare, so the intelligence projected the illusion of flaming spears and bronze shields. As our capacity to understand the world evolved, the projections evolved with us. The bronze shields became phantom dirigibles to 19th century farmers, and eventually metallic saucers to a society splitting the atom. The underlying physical presence has remained totally static. The only variable that actually changes is the human vocabulary we use to describe it. When we read Julius Obsequens Liber Prodigiorum today, we are looking at humanity's first verified dataset of an intelligence that exists outside of our control. The Roman Republic eventually fell. Empires that followed collapsed, leading to our atomic age. Through all of that human turbulence, the anomalies have quietly held their positions in the sky.